In fact, actually, as a reminder, I'm going to subscribe to you now because.
Okay. Yeah, dude, go subscribe. Good idea.
Okay,
Um,
let's get notified.
video. How do I?
Oh, you are live.
Yeah, it should say that I just went live. Turn on camera. Wait, how is my camera off? Dude. Yo, why does technology never freaking work? I swear, I was just using my camera last night to stream, and now it's acting funny. All right.
That's unhappy.
Uh, Time to unplug it and plug it back in. I bet you that'll do it.
Yeah.
Oh boy, I'm breaking everything now. All right. Anyway, so you have the goodies that what's his face? I think Shifty. What he put in as far as stuff he wanted to talk about or stuff that we are going to talk about.
Yeah, so we got the list from last time we met of things we're
Yeah.
gonna.
I guess we'll kick it off from there. Just to let you know, yeah, I'm not sure how long my daughter will sleep, so I guess as a base, let's just assume that I'm good until for about an hour, and if I'm lucky, I can get another hour in.
Cool. Yeah, well, just say if you need to drop off, that'll be fine.
Yup.
Yeah, well, I mean, point one was create agenda for the next meeting. So, so
Create an agenda for the
not sure
next
we.
meeting.
Yeah, from the last meeting, that was what we meant to do. But I guess because of the ending, because the end of last time, we never ended up doing that. So
No, playtesting is fun though. I feel like playtesting that way was a lot of fun.
yeah, it
Of
was
course,
very good.
also time consuming, but
Yeah, I think I hadn't really set up in advance for that. That was more the problem. But quite possible. And maybe there would be some kind of format we could do it not live, just like turn-based or something. I could just leave it set up and just progress it slowly. I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah. No, that's shoot, who was talking about that? There was a fellow in the Hero Escapers Discord that was talking about doing something like that. Um, I'm still in my jammies. I have not changed out. There was a fellow talking about, well, what do you call it? It's not asymmetrical, is it? Not asymmetrical play. It's
Asynchronous.
yeah, there you go. That's it. Yeah. And I think he's been trying that on his phone. Sorry, that's what he's been working on is asynchronous Hero Escape play from his phone.
Mm.
And he says that that's worked out pretty well. I think I bug him because I think I mentioned AOTP to him, but AOTP is like it's a whole monster because you have the card management.
Yeah.
Like to be able to do
Like
asynchronous with that, yeah, we have to figure out what we're gonna do for card management first, which is their hand management.
it'd ideally have like a web app to just have hold the hands of cards for us, but I don't have the inclination to bother how to work out how to do that.
That would be probably pretty hairy. I kind of want to look into that, but yeah, that will
Yeah.
detract. That will take a lot of time, I think.
Yeah, but I might just in the Discord make a channel for asynchronous playtesting where if I set up a map, I can just like put pictures of the turns and people can comment about what's going on.
Yeah, probably the way to go.
Yeah. Or actually, I guess even have each playtest be a thread would be better, wouldn't it? Inside that.
That might be a good idea as well.
Yeah, then people can always put their own playtest summaries and things into it as well. Makes sense.
Can I get my camera to be any better? All right, that'll have to work. Okay, so we have no agenda. What do we do for the meantime here? Do we just talk about? Let's see. You already have your that Word doc, right? That Word doc, which kind of just says like, hey, we want to do figures first, and then was it spells, and then was it the terrain? But like basically like the things we want to do in order, over the course of months, let's say, right?
Yeah, got the list of things we want to do. I mean, don't necessarily have to do it in order. We can hop
Okay.
between them. That's the point of the different chats on Discord. But
Okay.
yeah, so we don't have to get bogged down with one type of thing. But yeah, I feel like units where people seem to enjoy going strong with the units at the beginning. To be fair, they make up the most of the set. So
Yeah, they're probably the most crucial. I think the planeswalkers are probably the most
yeah,
like crucial things to get right.
at least the most distinctive part, even if other bits take ages to pull together afterwards.
So
Um,
spells. How about if we got nothing specific to talk about, what do you think? Did you have a chance to look at my sheet of spells? I think I sent it to you, right?
oh, yes, I do have it. I
Of
briefly
course,
looked.
there's no theming to
Oh,
that,
yeah.
but
So last time we talked about a white spell gives flying till end of turn, um,
yeah.
which is sounds quite fun. Um,
Guess flying for like the
actually,
whole
wasn't.
army, or I don't know if we write down ideas.
Well, yeah. To be fair, I was just going to say we should put that uh, into this thing. Oh God, what's Discord doing? Discord does not like having the chat and a voice call open in only half a screen.
Oh
So
yeah,
never
it's
mind.
gonna be.
Uh, right, can I share that window? There we go. Right, so this is a list of things we're going with.
Ooh. All right.
So yeah, so you were saying so white. There was something to give, like, well, I guess a creature or a squad
Yeah,
flying till
I would
end of
hate
turn.
to. I would hate to overlap with because I think I did briefly mention this, but blue already has ghostly wings, which does that, right? It just says pick a creature, pick a squad or hero
Yeah,
creature, which is just dumb. Like why? It would just say pick a creature. But anyway, yeah, it already says pick a creature, give it +2 move and flying until end of turn. So it's like I'd prefer that if we're gonna make a white spell that does something like that, like it does it for like a whole squad or even your entire army, or at least maybe all creatures in your army, not the planeswalker. Something
yeah,
to distinguish it a little more from blues, which kind of is already pick a creature and give it flying until end of turn.
yeah. Because is it any creature or just a blue creature? It's the wings.
It's any, I should double check that, but I feel like I'm about 90% sure it's any creature.
Uh,
Let me.
yeah, it's any creature you control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So in terms of like distinguishing it, then
Could even just say pick an entire squad. Just be like, hey, here's a squad. Give it flying. At least for the white one. Or again, you could just say all creatures you control gain flying until end of turn. Boom, done. Which I feel like would be pretty nice. I don't know. For me, again, I don't know how white's supposed to be in MTG, the actual card game, but in AOTP, I kind of feel like white has the most. Hey, all of your guys get this until end of turn. Well, it's probably between them and green, I would say. Like they're the two colors that are just like non-discriminately, just like buff tons of figures. Actually, even white is more discriminate though. They usually say your white stuff gets this until end of turn, or your white stuff gets this.
yeah, white's a bit more.
They're racist. I get it. So
Trying to say like snobby kind of. It's like white buffs white quite a lot, whereas
yeah.
green just buffs.
So maybe we could even do that, which is I think one of my custom spells that I did was like it was just Honor of the Pure only. Instead of your white creatures getting +1 tough and +1 power, it was flying, while the enchantment was there. But yeah, we can do the same
Yeah,
thing even with a sorcery and just be like, hey, all of your white creatures get flying until end of turn, and that's a decent way to distinguish from blues, which is non-discriminate. It's just that you only get to pick one creature with that.
yeah,
Okay, so yeah, this could be a sorcery or even an enchantment. I don't know if it's too powerful. Like I feel like if we're gonna go with an enchantment, you use the same conditions, I guess, as what Honor of the Pure does, where this is all of your undamaged white figures. So it's like as soon as
Mm.
you get damaged, then you don't get +1 power, +1 toughness anymore. Could do the same thing with this, and that is honestly what I did, but without testing, there's no way to know if that's balanced or not.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. Any thoughts? Would you prefer it to be a one-turn sorcery or an enchantment that lasts a long time?
Guess it depends. I think probably taking any squad and giving them flying permanently would get out of hand. Oh, I guess any white squad.
That's
I
true.
mean,
It would have to be expensive. I could see that. It would have to be expensive if you're going to make it an enchantment.
could work. Yeah, to be fair, it could work. Uh, okay, well, I'll put versus enchantment as a note.
Yeah. Like I said, I think an enchantment form could be balanced by having, the freaky conditions like Honor of the Pure has.
Yeah. Okay. And then about well, do you have any other ideas for Zendikari spells?
Since I don't know a lot about the theme of Zendikar, no. That's kind of why I gave you my list of spells, and I figured maybe
Yeah.
you or even Shifty would just pick something that seemed Zendikar themed.
Yeah, to be fair, that's yeah, I just need to have a proper look at your list. Um,
Should I put on music? I'll put on music on my stream for these quiet moments
yeah,
when
why
you
not?
gotta sit and think.
Yeah. Oh yeah, some more of that calm techno stuff that was going on.
Wait, some more of the what?
On your end of Age of Annihilation stream, that music.
Oh yeah, that's just a random playlist too, of like 3 hours
Yeah,
worth of music. That's what I'm
like
gonna find. That's usually the one I always go to. It's just like I've had that
yeah,
playlist for a while.
surprisingly banging for just for a random set of music.
Yeah, I spent a long time building that playlist up, honestly. Like looking at a bunch of different websites and listening to a bunch of the random music.
Yeah.
Now, I'm just gonna make sure I don't drown out our chat. It's got to be quiet. Okay. Huh. Okay. Anyway, that's up and going. Yeah, let me listen to my stream on my phone, and we'll see what's good with this if I set it up decently.
Yeah, well, I just had a quick glance through the spells, which look
You,
great.
you
Certainly
think
some
see?
I thought, no, I've already forgotten which one. There were a few I picked out that I was like, oh, they'll be like perfect for Kaladesh.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I mean. Is like, which ones seem like they might be good for
Yeah.
Zendikar? Like, mine are just random.
To go through properly and refresh myself with what was in Battle for Zendikar and Oath of the Gatewatch for the kind of style that was going on. We good on the stream?
Probably all right. I think the music's good. I'm just listening. Okay. All right. So wait, so 3 spells for each color. This will be fun. What did you
Yeah,
think of my
plus two
colorless? What did you
colorless.
think about my colorless spells too? I feel like the colorless ones, I didn't know what to do with them, but I felt like I spent a reasonable amount of time making those decent.
Which were your colorless ones? Oh, yeah, those ones at the top.
Mic check. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, it got some neat things. I think, yeah, stuff like, in fact, spatial contortion. Your creature gets +1 power and -1 toughness. I know that's pulled straight from the spatial contortion card. From
It might be.
Magic.
Yeah, I was looking at a lot of the actual Magic cards when I was kind of trying to
Yeah.
figure out what to do with those. Yep.
I think that works really well for a colorless spell, especially like Eldrazi themed colorless, as opposed to just typically generic cards. So yeah, because didn't we say we were gonna go for like the purple frame spell cards?
Probably, yeah, to be colorless. I mean, if the army cards
Yeah.
are purple, why not copy that over to the spells?
Yeah, exactly. As opposed to artifact spell cards that would be in Kaladesh as a thing.
So yeah, is that what we would do with artifact cards then? Like, would we change the color of artifact cards, or would we keep them purple? Like when we actually make like an army card.
Well, I was gonna suggest having them as artifacty, and I think, if I remember correctly, I had
Artifacty meaning what though? Like they have that grayish color or whatever it is?
Yeah. Let me check. I think I ended up with this gold. Yes, I do. Where did I get this? I cannot remember where I got it now, but in my templates for cards I have purple frame for the spell and also artifact frames for them.
Okay.
Let me so I can show you two different windows. This one, yeah, so something like that, and then but same with the spells as well.
Okay. And is that how they do colorless versus artifact in the card game?
No. So, so in Magic, the only colorless cards were typically artifacts, and they had their own artifact frame. And then with the Eldrazi, they made the Void cards, which had a special frame because normally the color of a card is determined by the color of mana used to cast it.
Yeah.
That's what defines the card's color.
Yep.
So the Void cards were ones that had a color in the mana cost, but by their rules text were colorless cards for the purposes of other effects.
Yep. I remember seeing those.
Yeah, and so their frame would like fade into like a monochromatic thing. But other than that, yeah, typically colorless cards are just the colorless artifacts. And yeah, the whole purple frame was a thing they added in AotP with the Eldrazi.
So is there any reason why we don't stick to that then? Because in my mind, excuse me, I got to scratch your throat there. In my mind, we just stick to purple as colorless in AOCP personally. Like that's how I see it right now.
Yeah, so that's what I was thinking. So we can continue having like colorless things that fit into that theme better than being artifacts. So anything.
So, all right. No, I mean, what I was speaking of is I was even saying I would probably just make artifacts purple. Like the purple border.
Interesting.
Because artifacts are still considered colorless, right? Or are there such thing as colored artifacts?
Yeah, there are a few.
Okay. Yeah, then especially on that note, I would just be like, because if we want a blue artifact in AOTP, we don't want to have to make it colorless, right? Or like the white color, whatever it is, the very cream colored. I kind of feel like even for artifacts, then we probably just stick to, if it's colorless, it's purple. If it's blue, then it's blue, right? Like the background or the border is blue.
Mm. I mean, yeah, colored artifacts are quite rare. They're normally reserved for like special cycles of very specific things. But yeah, the majority of artifacts are just grey cards in Magic. I don't know.
But the Eldrazi are also typically gray in MTG, right?
So the Eldrazi,
Well, the colorless ones, quote unquote. I don't know if they have
yeah.
colors.
So the
but...
colorless, the ones that didn't have any colors, like the actual Eldrazi cards, they weren't quite grey. Like the artist did a frame that was to represent the Eldrazi.
Oh, okay.
So I'm trying to think like Miracle. Let's find it. No. Yeah, so like, which window am I in? Whoops, hold on. Let me put this into the window I'm actually streaming. That might help. Oh, I'm not streaming anything. Let's get back to streaming the window. Okay. Oh, that's a bit big. Yeah, so like, this is like Emrakul's card from.
Okay.
Why have I forgotten the name of it? Eldritch Moon. That was the Shadows over Innistrad pair set. So it's like, it's not like an artifact, but it is like colorless in its own way.
Okay.
Although they also then like typically had these like semi-translucent text boxes and things for the artwork. Yeah.
Right.
The Eldrazi were like a kind of special card, a special type anyway. There weren't many of them, so they made a deal of them in the artwork.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's opposed to, just artifacts are pretty grey in there.
I'm shocked it doesn't get confused with white, honestly.
Really? They always look very different. Yeah, white's a lot whiter.
I guess it is, yeah. I think it's close enough where it could be confusing, but yeah, okay.
I don't know. Never actually had that problem before. But there you go.
I mean, at least there's always the symbols on the cards, right? That's honestly how you tell. It's like, who cares? Usually you check for the symbols.
Yeah, there is always a symbol. So.
All right, I won't make a big fuss about it. I guess in the end I don't care.
Yeah,
it's just me personally. I think I would make all colorless things to be purple because that's what they did with the Eldrazi, and that's the only thing they have, those two Eldrazi things in AOTP. So
yeah, I think I don't know. I guess in my head I always considered the Eldrazi and artifacts differently.
Yeah,
and that's why I was like, well, artifacts would have an artifact frame.
like an artifact, like a whole separate artifact color.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. But anyway, yeah, something to think about. Oh, what was I saying? Spatial contortion.
What would be?
Yes.
Yeah, I like spatial contortion, and I mean, I intentionally worded that one to be like you could target an opponent's creature or your own creature with it. By the way.
Yeah. That's exactly how it works in how it's used in Magic as well. It's very
It effectively works out to be, give one of your guys +1 power, or give one of their guys -1 toughness. It's like, unless you're using fight, I guess it also has odd, funky synergy with fight, because then the -1, the -1 power and toughness does matter combined.
Yeah.
Where was I going? Oh, I haven't looked too much at the Eldrazi cards, but let's say we do go ahead and so we have the Eldrazi, and I guess like a lot of other colorless creatures would be purple, and then you have the, holy crap, why am I forgetting the name? The artifacts. The artifacts are going to be this like grayish or whatever that color was.
Yeah.
how do you distinguish them? Like, how do you let players know, hey, purple is colorless, but also these gray cards are also colorless? Is that just like something you write in the rules?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, well, something being colorless is just, yeah, it's colorless if it doesn't have one of the 5 basic colors. Really, is how it would be defined.
I wonder. Defined. Right. Well, was that defined in AOTP though? I'd hate to only say because it's like this in Magic, it's like this in AOTP. I want to treat AOTP as if nobody has seen Magic or even HeroScape before, you know? So that's why I'm sitting here like, and again, since I haven't played much MTG, I'm just like, purple could be applied to all colorless things because look at AOTP, you know? I guess I'll look at like the Eldrazi, like in the rulebook, and see what it says. Like, what if the rulebook, the Battle for Zendikar, I mean, what if that one says like, hey, the colorless things, they have the purple border? Then it's like, then we should probably strongly consider even the artifacts are purple. But I'd have to check that.
Yeah, I guess it's the distinction of are they purple because they're colorless, or are they purple and they're colorless?
Right. Yes, and I'm hoping the rulebook somehow distinguishes, or lets us know. I've opened up the Battle for Zendikar rulebook like 3 times. I just I've read the other 2 rulebooks a lot more. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. I think it said something about, like, it was mostly talking about how you can put colorless cards into
any army.
In color army. Also, I was going to say yes. So when I made some templates for the cards, I on the purple cards, which weren't on the officially printed cards, I added the colorless mana symbol as the color symbol. Instead.
Oh, that's the
so
that's the diamond, right?
One. Yeah, it's like the.
That's a good idea. So, that would be one way to help. Yeah.
Right. So that, and then on the artifact ones, it's just a grey hex. Yeah, I don't know if there'd be a better symbol we could put in. Someone with better ideas than I could probably come up with it. So the idea being that, like, that does identify that it's colorless if you know what the symbol means. But slightly distinct from an artifact that's also colorless because they kind of take different roles.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can pull up the rulebook. Maybe I don't know.
If I can get mine out. It's right here.
Do you have it like all open and in front of you?
It's just in my cupboard.
I got all the rulebooks saved on my phone. It's just a matter of scrolling through my files. I just found it now. Can't not have all the AOTP rulebooks saved on your phone. Come on. Colorless army cards. They literally call it colorless army cards. When building an army, you must include... Can you hear me, by the way? Am I in your speaker?
Yeah,
okay. Because I'll just read this out loud to you. But it says, you must include one and only one planeswalker. Right? That's funny, that's the first sentence. But, of course, that's the rule for the game. After you select your planeswalker, select which army cards you want to include in your army. Each army card in your army must be of a mana symbol matching your colored planeswalker, your selected planeswalker, or be a colorless card identified by purple borders. Oh, but it also does say after that, or an artifact army card. So it's like there's precedent to say colorless means it's purple border, but there's also makes it sound like artifact is something different than a colorless card. This is interesting.
They also spell artifact wrong there. Oh. Gee.
Artifact? Wait, what do you mean? How does it spell for you?
Yeah, how done. They spell it with an E in my rulebook. Whereas Magic very distinctly spells it with an I.
Yeah, I have an I in here. ARTIFACT. Do you have like one of the early? Yeah, wait, you probably saw in the chat, right?
Yes, there's another error. I forgot what it is, but
It's the one about the Eldrazi Ruiner using his lay waste power after every attack? Look at lay waste. Let's see.
At the end of its turn, deal 1 damage to all figures your opponents control.
That's supposed to be the good version too. Oh, just to let you know, yeah, that's like the reprint of the rulebook to fix that error. Because the one I have says lay waste. If no planeswalkers are adjacent to the ruiner at the end of its attack, deal 1. That's because you can continuously attack as long as you kept destroying creatures. So that's why he was like super powerful, because like you kill a creature with your attack and then do lay waste, and then all the creatures around you just became weaker, so you kill the next weak one next to you and then do lay waste again, and then so it like snowballs. So they fix it to say at the end of his turn instead of at the end of his attack. So that's funny. So they spelled it. They put an E for artifact instead.
He changed the spelling of artifact.
It's spelled correctly here.
Entertaining.
In the first print. That's so sad. That is so sad. Wait,
Yeah,
who went and broke it like when it didn't need to be fixed? What the heck, dude?
Yeah. Who looked and was like, wait, we need to change the spelling of artifact.
Oh my gosh. But anyway, so you do see though, it says colorless memory card, and that says in parentheses, identified by purple border. So at my first thought after reading that was like, yeah, that includes all colorless things. But then it says or an artifact, which means I feel like artifact was meant to be something different than what colorless is, which is funny. But I guess based on that
makes
I
sense
could be.
To me.
Go ahead.
I was going to say that kind of makes sense to what I would have assumed from Magic, in that artifacts are colorless, but they represent a different thing to the Eldrazi, who are
so
also
weird.
colorless.
Yeah, I agree. After reading that in the BFZ book, I agree that we could probably make artifacts a different color, because that, like, I take that statement as being, artifact cards are distinguished from purple colorless cards, which is weird to me, but alright.
The way I would describe it, a good way of describing it, is that lore-wise, artifacts can be used with any color of mana, whereas the Eldrazi as well, kind of creatures, but anyway, as creatures, consume all mana around them. They like consume the mana of a plane. That's so the opposite ends, or inversions of it.
Okay.
So that's why it made sense for them to be purple, whilst artifacts be grey for me. But
Okay, that makes a little more sense. But yeah, again, if I look at it, what's it say? If I look at it strictly from just from a rulebook perspective, instead of what I don't know about MTG, I agree with what you're thinking now with MTG anyway. So it's all good.
Yeah. So clearly they wanted to make Kaladesh, I think.
Yeah, dude, it's so sad. Kaladesh probably would have been sick. I'd look forward to working on that.
Yeah, that'll be sick.
Alright, but yeah, small steps. So colorless. Should we just hash out a few more spells? Like, should we just try and knock out these? Let's try and think of 3 of each color right now. Is that the plan?
Yeah. Well, let's have a little browse of. Say. We're talking, say, they're from Zendikar or Oath of the Gatewatch. And we want to know what colourless cards. And they should be
like sorcery and enchantment, or do we just pull up any of them?
Instants or sorceries or enchantments.
Instants are basically hidden enchants, right? Like, do you see those as being the same, or?
Yeah, so hidden enchantments, I would say, is how they implemented the idea of an instant.
So, too.
Because there's no, like, priority in a turn of who can cast when or anything like that.
Right.
So. I mean, obviously, it could be added, but it would end up being...
It would, I think, yeah. It might conflict too much with how hidden enchants already work.
And let's make the visual spoiler. Oh, okay. Well, that's a short list. It clearly did not include the Devoid cards, but that's alright.
Hey, Gruesome Slaughter. I actually attempted a form on that card. As well as Scour from Existence, I think. And there's Spatial Contortion. Titan's Presence, I think I might have a Warping Whale one. So I must have accidentally did most of these. I did see Titan's Presence before, but I didn't end up attempting to do something with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure my colorless spells, I think I had like 6 or 7. I have 4 of these, I'm pretty sure, in there.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, so these are colorless spells, right?
Yep.
But as you can see, the identity of them is very much Eldrazi, as opposed to just being colorless.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So what did you say for Warping Whale then?
It was something about adding a token, which would have to be figured out. Something about doing a token or destroying a creature with 1 toughness or something.
Yeah.
I should probably pull up my own list.
I could put your list into the window. That would be.
Oh, do you got it?
Alright, well, choose one. So destroy a target squad creature with toughness. Can't see. With 1 toughness or less. Yeah, 2 return colorless or just a squad creature from your graveyard back into the battlefield adjacent to a planeswalker you control.
Okay, that's what I did. I think I originally had it as a token, and maybe I swapped it because we haven't hashed out tokens yet.
Oh, yeah, you added a comment. Could be used to create a token instead of reviving a Scion.
Oh, yeah, okay. But we're not exploring tokens super seriously in this expansion, are we? I forget if we decided that or not.
What did we say about that?
I want to say that Shifty said, there was some other white hoe that does that, right? There's like a female white planeswalker that was
Elspeth.
Elspeth, yeah, that
typically
sounds right.
makes 1/1 soldiers, yeah.
And I don't know what set she's in, but I want to say Shifty mentioned her and said we should do that when we do her, but I don't know. Yeah. What are your thoughts?
Well, I did write down, like, in the rulebook to kind of, like, neaten up and define a token creature.
For our Zendikar thing here?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
What was this about? Oh, yeah, so this was about Nissa's animating a tree. Like,
which
so
is kind of
saying
like
that, like, instead of repeating lots of text on lots of cards, we could just say it becomes a token creature till end of turn, so that token comes with its own set of rules.
Okay. Then yeah, I don't mind. I don't mind doing that now. It's just hopefully we don't go super heavy in tokens in this expansion. Rather that's something that comes maybe with Elspeth or something that can be reasonably focused on doing tokens, you know? Yeah,
especially as like token creatures, I think thematically are more like common squads in Heroescape for Arena.
Which is weird, yeah, because then it's like, all right, then do we distinguish between common squads and tokens, or there's, I don't know what we're gonna do about that.
I think the token could be used with a tight escape to talk about things like Ghoul Vanguard that spawns stuff out.
Yeah.
You know, when you're animating things that aren't normally animated and so forth.
Okay. Yeah. Well, then, like, tokens probably won't tend to have many abilities, and they'll have, like, really shitty stats, I'm sure, most of the time.
Yeah.
Then again, I hope commons are also going to be quite crappy, because I don't want them overtaking AOTP, like they did Heroescape.
Yeah. The thing about tokens in Magic is specifically everything about a token is defined by the ability that created it, rather than anything else. So, just be like a token, is made by something, and then when it leaves the battlefield, it's gone.
That's the funny part, though, is right. If the token is supposed to be defined by the ability that creates it, then it's like how much about a token needs to be explained in the rule book, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I guess it really is just like hey, if you do a token, here's the life, move, power, range, toughness, and it's like, and then any other abilities it might have. Yeah, but then it's like, what do you do for height? You know, how do you define height, size, the hit zone? Or we could just say, hey, whatever you use as a token for hit zone, the entire thing is a hit zone. But then that encourages, oh, hey, I have this really thin figure that's going to be my token, and you're going to, I can hide it anywhere, you know? So that's much harder to define, I think.
Yeah, it's indeed. As the, well, I think tokens should be used for, like, parts of the game that already exist, but being reused in different ways, like Ghoul Vanguard does, like Nissa's tree ability does.
Yeah.
The fact that it's a token means that if when it's being a token, something happens to it, it's not like a duplicate in a graveyard. You don't suddenly need 2 of them anywhere.
Okay.
Some weird, wacky things that someone could try and argue.
Okay.
It's just that, and with tokens, they can't be returned from the graveyard either, because they never go to a graveyard. They just disappear.
Okay.
So,
All right. Anyway,
okay.
yeah, tokens are a fun one.
They, so talked about so Warping Whale.
Custom Heroescape tiles, Vault Nurse, welcome, welcome. Well, we're hey, sorry to cut you off, Luke, but well, we're talking about Vault Nurse. I'm going to assume that you're familiar with AOTP since you're stopping by. We're talking more about the actual boards you got with AOTP. We're probably going to be creating custom versions of those, and not so much creating new tiles. Maybe we will. I don't know. I don't see that in our scope right now.
Depends how good I get at 3D modeling.
Yeah, there you go. But more than likely, Vault Nurse, just to let you know, since, yeah, I don't know how much of our chats you've seen, but we're pretty much going to be importing officially, quote-unquote, officially or unofficially, the Heroescape sets into AOTP, but probably changing some of the rules where needed, especially with, like, the Lava set, because there are no rounds in the AOTP. But anyway, that's a little detracted from our discussion now, but just to give you the heads up. Anyway, yeah, Luke, where now... Alright, so color the spells. We're jumping around, but...
Yeah, so we're talking about Warping Whale.
And yeah, do we want to use a token then?
What did you say? Return a Eldrazi squad creature from graveyard.
I kind of just feel like we could leave it as is, as like the just bring a Scion back from your graveyard, or if we come up with a new Eldrazi squad, then just call it Eldrazi squad creature, and then it could be the Scion, or if there's a new Eldrazi squad at that point, you know. Like summon Heroescape monsters. I don't know if we're gonna go. I don't know if we're gonna actually convert Heroescape directly into AOTP, although I guess that's a possibility. But I think we're gonna more just create brand new stuff and pull from MTG figures. Like what are those sets called? Guildmasters, right, Luke? Is it called Guildmasters?
Yeah, there were some figures, like figurines made.
Yeah.
Special release by WizKids about some of the planeswalkers and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, things like that. And it's more the Heroescape terrain and some of the rules around, you know, things like common squads, that kind of stuff will get ported into the rule set of Arena of the Planeswalkers eventually. So they become, so we draw on what's already been made, but add more original content to the game.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I call it. That's a good way to put it. Original content. Although now that I think about it, I'm definitely not against just like pulling a Heroescape figure. I don't know if I'd copy like all of the Heroescape abilities or even the stats, but like it'd be easy just to be like, yo, grab the Fen Hydra. Are you familiar with the Fen Hydra from Heroescape? It's just a four-headed snake. I'm just like, yo, that's green. Let's face it. Like green has all the Hydras,
yeah.
Right? Like I've already thought about it. I'm like, I'll just grab the Fen Hydra from Heroescape and give it, you know, magic theme powers kind of thing. And boom, like, it's easy green creature, right? Easy large green, double space creature. I already own the freaking thing in my Heroescape collection.
Yeah, and certainly would make it easier for people.
Yeah, so that's actually not a bad idea to consider, but we're not too deep into our figures yet to really have explored a whole lot. But anyway, yeah, I'm getting detracted again. Sorry, dude. So what do you think? We'll just leave. What was it called again?
I think
Whale, as it is.
Warping Whale, yeah, just pulling a creature back. I think is a good way of doing it.
Yeah, an Eldrazi squad creature.
Yeah. Sweet. Let's put that onto the.
What do you think about including? You know, choose one of these few powers already for AOTP. I shouldn't say already. What do you think of it though? Do you like these kinds of cards? Do you think it's worthwhile?
Yeah, I do, because makes them a bit more useful, because if it, like, obviously it will come with a higher cost, but
okay,
yeah, it still just gives a bit more variability, especially as like what was the two things I've already forgotten. Destroy a creature with, yeah, so especially as in this case of the two options, some of the time you might not be able to do one or the other, like just might just be impossible in the game you're playing. So.
Right, that's true. Okay. Yeah, I guess because when I was making them, I tried to. There were a few that I made, and I ended up scrubbing them because I felt like I had a few of the. Even I think I made a few that were like choose two, and then there was like 4 or 5 options, and then it would cost like 40 points. But the more I thought about it, the more I was like they felt too like blanket check to everything, It was more like I could split these, 4 or 5
Yeah.
powers into 5 different cards, and then that's how you choose what you're gonna do with your deck instead of put it all into one card and then just be like, hey, I got everything I need in one card instead of trying to decide between 4. But whatever.
Yeah, 'cause the trouble with Arena is that there's no casting cost to spells, so you can't put a card that's like, pick one of any option that means that all the time this card is useful.
Yeah.
Because, everyone would just always play it.
Right. And I think that's part of the thing is with especially with colorless spells. I think those are going to have to be. I even thought about this myself when I was reading about MTG colorless. Is like, yeah, they said that they're kind of generally more expensive. And I think for AOTP, that's especially going to have to hold true because of colorless is just going to be very easy to shove into any planeswalker build. So it's like they have to cost, like a stupid ability that's just like -1 toughness, like make it cost 20 points, 25 points because. Because like black does -1 toughness, right? For what do they have? Well, they have -1 power, -1 toughness for 25 points. So it's like colorless should be far weaker than that because this means now everyone gets access to give a creature -1 toughness. So yeah, as long as we keep that philosophy in mind, because I don't want colorless to be broken and be like, yes, instead of taking any of my awesome red spells, I'll just take colorless because they do it better. It definitely shouldn't be like that.
Yeah, sure. So then for the third colorless spell, quite like the sound Gruesome Slaughter, I think.
It's very wordy, and I don't. Yeah, I like what I was going for, but it's wordy, and I think it could be worded better. But it's basically right. I think if I can't read it, but it was what you get +1 power, and then instead of attacking, your guys fight, right?
Yeah. So maybe not have the +1 power. Depends what you're going for. It could be that with a squad, obviously, if you fight all your squads and they're all little Eldrazi creatures, then they'll all just die because they don't have much.
Yeah,
although actually, no, the Scions have 3 life, so they're actually pretty beefy.
They're 2 life. They're 2 life, 3 toughness.
2 life. Yeah. Yeah, maybe you could do it on a hero creature, so just that hero creature until end of turn instead of attacking, you fight.
I feel like, Alright, personally, for me, when I play heroes, I am typically not using my heroes to kill a squad creature, or usually other creatures in general. That's just me. Like, usually when I have my heroes, I'm mostly thinking of Avacian, Core Hooker, Eldrazi Ruiner. I send them at the Planeswalker. Like, I don't care about the creatures. I don't know. I'm not sure, because, yeah, this feels like a card I would probably never play. Either that, or maybe we dump the cost down a lot, which, again, I don't really want cheap costs being associated with colorless, but we could say, sure, your hero gets +1 power, and then he fights 1 squad creature. What, is that instead of attacking still?
Yeah.
Okay. Or maybe not fights 1 squad creature, rather fights 1 creature, so at least you can fight another hero, which I would be a lot more on board with. At least you can fight a hero instead of just a squad, which is much, a much weaker effect.
It's just its attack this turn is a fight rather than a normal attack.
Yeah. And I don't know how you feel, but I feel like we should never allow fighting to happen against a Planeswalker. At least I don't think it currently happens, and I just feel like when some of the Planeswalkers have 3, when they have 3 toughness, like, you could probably, all it takes is Gruesome Slaughter plus Titanic Growth, and you will literally one-shot a Planeswalker. It's just not fun. Not that Titanic Growth already almost enables a lot of one-shots anyway, but, yeah, alright, good. I could be okay with that, I think. I would think that since it's only for a hero creature, and hero creature gets +1 power, I feel like, especially because you give up your actual attack roll, I wouldn't mind seeing Gruesome Slaughter drop to like 10 or 15 points after that.
Yeah.
Instead of 25. Because 25 for that effect, for just like 1 fight effect, doesn't feel super good, in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong, and we'll have to test it for sure, but...
Yeah. I think also, remembering because of that, like, they may well be taking damage in that as well. Whereas you wouldn't normally.
Yeah. Like, all of the heroes have really shitty defense. Like, I think all of the heroes have 3 defense except for, I think the Ghoul Vanguard might be the only one with 4. or toughness, but you know where I'm going.
Someone has 4 toughness.
It's
three,
the Vanguard
4.
for sure. He has it. I don't think any of the other ones do.
2
Prophet.
must.
Prophet does. Yep, he's at 4.
Yeah, there
Prophet's
you go.
also
Yeah,
much weaker with fighting, I would think.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the question is, all right, now that we're on that topic, let me go to the Prophet. So if we use Mad Prophet, let's say we use Mad Prophet with this, does he get his 1 power? I don't feel like he would. So here's the thing, look at Insistent Ravings, or I'll just read it to you. Mad Prophet gets +2 power while attacking a hero creature or planeswalker. Would he still get +2 power while fighting? I would think no, but what do you think?
No, because he's not attacking in a fight.
Right, exactly. Okay. So he's a weak choice for Gruesome Slaughter.
Each deals damage to the other equal to the difference.
Yeah,
between
my power minus your toughness, your power minus my toughness, right? So yeah,
it's not even combat damage. Fighting's different.
It's probably a spell. Yeah, I don't think they explain that, but I would agree that it's like a spell damage kind of thing. Yeah. So right, so Mad Prophet's a weak choice for Gruesome Slaughter, even as it is. Sure, he gets 4 toughness, but he has 3 base power. Like he's not doing a ton in return either.
Yeah.
But anyway, okay, fine. I'm definitely cool with this though. Hero creature fights. Let's see. He fights instead of attacks, and you don't even agree with +1 power.
Yeah, it could have +1 power.
I feel like let's shove +1 power in until the end of turn. Like I don't know why, but if it's gonna be called Gruesome Slaughter, let's give him a little more power.
Yeah. Yeah. Say. That's +1 power until end of turn. And
that's what's missing. There was no mana tapping in AOTP. It didn't feel enough like Magic or HeroScape, but I like the figures. I think it is. I think AOTP is 80% like HeroScape. I feel like it is.
Yeah.
Very much like HeroScape, and I think it's close enough to Magic. Yeah, there's no tapping, but you still have the deck that you get to build, even though it's kind of small, and you still get to draw cards and play spells. It's just, in my eyes, the way I view tapping mana is you tap the mana before the game starts, as if, like, you start with 200 points, which I kind of, in my own way, I consider that mana. So it's like I have 200 mana. It's like, and then I draw this, 15-point card. It's like this basically, by me drawing this card, it costs me 15 mana to even have it in my deck. That's how I view it.
Yeah.
I get it though, is that it means that there's a lot of like bursty, especially like I think AOTP is very heavy in burst to be like, I'm gonna play my 3 most expensive spells this turn, where it's like in regular MTG you can't really do that. Right? Like, you can't have like your 3 7-cost spells in there and play them all the same turn unless the game's really gone on that long, or I don't know a lot of MTG, but it's like, but in AOTP it's like, oh, I drew my 40 card and my 30 and like a 35. Oh, I have all 3 of them. Boom! Like there's 110 points of my deck, and I'm going to use them all right now. It's more than half of my mana cost, but here it is. Anyway.
Yeah. All the cost is up front rather than during the game.
Yeah, you're right. Instead of like during each turn, like the only real cost per turn you get is that you can play 3 spells per turn, which is barely a limitation in my eyes. But anyway, we got sidetracked. So we're cool with colorless. We got these ones. These seem all good to me.
Sweet.
So we go to green next. Should we tackle green?
Yeah, let's look at what green cards were in here. Color isn't colorless, but that's the color gone green.
Turn up the music a little bit.
See. Few more this time around. How many are there? 24. Really?
Oh, good. This should be easy.
Oh yeah, because it's not creatures. That would make sense. There we go. Say.
All the scions. Oh yeah, there it is. Devoid.
Void. Yeah. So this is the devoid frame. They put like a little Hedron-esque pattern at the top, and then it fades into
like the gray. I've seen that. I've definitely seen that.
It's not really grey. It's kind of just like monochrome, isn't it?
Or yeah.
And a nothing color. Yeah, so you should probably avoid the devoid cards
I would,
for the
definitely.
colours.
I agree.
They very much don't have the colour identities that strongly.
Hey, here's Earthen Arms. That's funny.
Yeah, there's Earthen Arms.
Ooh, I like Elemental Uprising. I feel like that's an easy one to chuck in there. Maybe not as an instant, but maybe as like a sorcery or something.
Yeah, or to like animate a tree or something outside of Nissa's
Could be.
ability.
My first thought was to use on the actual elementals in AOTP, but that's also fine. But like, cause we have Pulmeru elementals and the kitties. What are they called? The
Yeah.
Blazing Fire Cat.
Yeah.
Those are both elementals. Yeah.
Hmm.
A target land you control becomes a 4/4 elemental. Yeah, you're right. Like that's kind of worded, kind of like the that Nissa card that we
Yeah.
did, where it's like we could just like use a tree or
Same
something.
idea, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. Well, I quite like the idea of that. It's,
Make it a spell to like move and attack with a tree or something.
yeah. Tree. Maybe something like that. This is a compiler list, and then we can. What have I done? Can see what we think. Just gonna put that over there. There we go. We want to put one. Yes. Don't want to make scions.
Lead by example. It's Gideon and Nissa, isn't it? Yeah, Gideon and Nissa carved a
Yeah.
path. Yeah, of course it is. All right.
Yep. You just put two +1 power and +1 toughness counters wherever you want.
That's busted.
Yeah, I feel like Natural Connection doesn't have a strict translation either.
No. Yeah, you definitely gotta wing it, and that's fine. I know. I think what's his name, Toy Handle, certainly did a lot of that. Or he was, or I mean, where he compared, you know, the 1-to-1 cards, where it's like, I don't know. I think almost all the AOTP cards are literally like, at least their names are pulled straight from MTG. Sorry, I got my
all
headphones
the
hanging off my
spell
head so I can
cards
hear in case my daughter calls. But yeah, the original devs, who made it? Was it Wizards? Whoever developed AOTP, they certainly wung, you know, they were winging some of the spells.
Yeah, some they ported like the idea of the spell, and some they used the name in the artwork and wrote something else.
And it
on
was like something different. Yep. So yeah, I don't mind. Like, yeah, I usually like to stick to something close to what the original card says, but it's like sometimes I'm pretty sure I'll just go
Yeah.
out of my way.
Yeah, I would agree. It's like unless we come up with you know, a mechanic for a spell, and we're like, yeah, we want to put that in, but we need a name and an artwork that matches.
Yeah.
I think most of the time drawing on what Magic had, probably a good idea. Oh yeah, gain 7 life. That's great, isn't it?
Yes. This is renewal. All right. Sounds balanced. I don't know what to make of any of these three. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah. Plummet is in Arena, is it not?
Plummet? No.
Or is it a variant? There's a do something against flying, isn't there? A spell.
Yeah, what do they have? They have Sky Reaping, I think. Which is just deal,
Yeah,
deal
that's
1
it.
damage to a creature with flying. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a classic set of spells you find in Magic.
Destroy target creature with flying. I mean, we could probably import that, but definitely would have to be like a target squad creature with flying.
Yeah. Oh, what about the oaths? Because there was an oath for Nissa, Gideon, Jace, and Chandra from these sets, and then in Eldritch Moon, Liliana also saw an oath.
I'm not familiar
So
with
it'd be
oaths
one
are.
of each color.
Is that just like the gatekeepers that do that, probably?
Yeah, it was the Gatewatch when they formed. They
Or the
each swore an
Gatewatch, my
oath.
bad, yeah. Okay, well, I don't mind like oaths. I guess. What are oaths supposed to do?
I think. Oaths.
Speaking of legendary, I don't know if we talked about it, but as far as like legendary spells go, my initial thought for that was like you could have some legendary enchants, legendary and sorcery, or legendary sorceries, all that crap, whatever other spell cards we come up with. But my thought was like, if we do make legendary spells, I feel like why not have like a thing that says if you have a legendary spell, like you don't have one legendary spell in your deck, right? And then we can have like, okay, every color has like a few legendary enchantments and a few legendary sorceries, but you can only pick one of those legendary cards and put it in your deck, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I could have something like that.
Because I assume legendary enchantments and sorceries, you can only have one copy of them in your deck. Is that how it goes?
Yes, so anything with the legendary
Yeah.
thing, yeah.
So
And
AOTP is already stuck at you can only have one copy of every spell.
You can
anyway.
have you can have any number up to the normal limit of 4, but you can only have one under your control on the battlefield at a time with the same name.
Okay.
You can't have duplicates of legendary cards. That's how it works.
Huh. Okay, I didn't know that. So you can have 4 in your deck, but just only one on the field at a time.
Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting. I don't know if I'd want to. I mean,
other
AOTP
people
already
swore
has
it
it.
later on in the story, but
AOTP already has it where
maybe.
you can't have more than one copy of any given card. But so my next thought for legendary things was you can only have one legendary thing in your deck, and then maybe there is going to be like a sorcery and an enchantment, you know, for each color. So it's like then you can pick one or the other if you really want to use one, you know.
Yeah, that would be quite cool actually. Then we could put in something more powerful.
Yeah.
That people could play, but it's not like after several sets they could just fill their deck with crazy good cards.
Right, exactly. You can't just put 2 or 3 legendaries in. You only get one legendary. Anyway, something to explore in the future, and like maybe that's what we do with the oaths. But again, it's like, do we introduce oaths and legendary spells as part of Zendikar? I don't know.
Yeah, I think. Maybe, yeah, I don't know if that's adding too much. So Dominaria, the set of Dominaria, focused on legendary things as a theme.
Oh, did
so
it?
That
Okay.
That had like lots of legendary creatures and things going on. So maybe
I wouldn't know how to do legendary creatures though, or maybe that's what we do. Is like we even say even for legendary spells and enchantments and creatures is like maybe we include creatures in there to be like you can have one legendary creature or one legendary spell, and that's like another way to divvy up. Hey, you got one major legendary choice, and like so make use of it.
Yeah.
And maybe we do that instead. Yeah, because I feel like to be able to say you can have one legendary spell and one legendary creature, like I feel like it's hard enough to squeeze more than usually 3-ish creatures in your build most games anyway. So that's like hardly an opportunity cost.
Yeah, and because also Shift Rex is talking about legendary things in was it C3G as well, and how that works.
We can talk to him about that. Yeah.
Yeah, because he's saying like the legendary. What does it say? Yeah, so like legendary creatures and things are like super high power.
Yep.
And then they kind of exist as like event type opponents.
And that's fine. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's right. We all talked about that. Was it during our first chat? I did say like I was fine with that to be like, because he wants legendary creatures to start on the battlefield as well instead of being summoned, and maybe that's the way it's supposed to be in MTG. I didn't see it that way because I have different ideas for AOTP. But yeah, I don't mind. That's totally fine for like a PvE thing or like a 3v1 or whatever. Like there's clearly a way to balance a super powerful creature, and maybe that's what we do. Yeah. And maybe it's not used for like competitive play, 1v1 kind of thing.
Yeah, we were talking about having the Eldrazi Titans as legendary creatures.
Yeah.
Because they are so powerful. But yeah, I also like the idea of saying, you can only have one legendary thing in your army if you build an army with something like legendary. And it would be higher cost as well.
Yep.
So.
I like that idea too. That sounds really cool now to be like, so you can have a spell or a creature, and now. Because I really like the it's going to be like a big opportunity cost to be like you get one legendary thing and now everything else is off the table.
Yeah. Made a bit more crazy because the Eldrazi are colorless. So anyone could.
Yeah, that's a scary part to consider. Yeah. We'll cross that bridge when we get there.
I think with that kind of definition of legendary in Arena, probably the oaths wouldn't need to be legendary; they'd just be enchantments or planeswalker enchantments.
We can make the oaths more powerful though than whatever they say on here. Let's not forget.
Yeah, well, so I was just thinking. So the theme of them is like when they enter the battlefield, you get a one-time effect that does something useful,
Okay.
and then they also give you a continuous effect that's themed to the planeswalker that the oath is of.
Okay.
So like, green was like mana buffing. Jace has like, you get to scry X, so that's where you get to look at the top card of your libraries and so forth.
Okay. Alright, so then you'd prefer these to be not legendary then? I don't care either way.
Yeah, just because. Well, actually, they might be. Hold on, because they all. So the the continuous ability. Well, actually, apart from Nissa's. Yeah. So apart from. Is it just? Oh no, including Nissa's. Yeah. So the continuous ability is related to planeswalkers. It's meant to be a planeswalker buff. So it could be something like that. The continuous ability happens when you choose your planeswalker as the active unit for a turn.
Right.
And whereas, as well as getting an enter the battlefield effect, and then they could be legendary. You could say you can only have one legendary thing in your deck.
Sure. That might take some balancing. And all I mentioned that you said, at the start of your planeswalker, when you select your planeswalker, is that will benefit certain colors more than others, at least. Uh-oh. I think my daughter's waking up now. Yep, she's up. Alright, I'm going to have to jump out of the chat. Alright, my final point, though. So you mentioned, right, it's like when you take a turn with certain planeswalkers. In AOTP's current state, I think certain colors are encouraged to take more turns with their planeswalker versus others, like black. Black is one especially that I think... What am I thinking of? The Restless Zombies, like, strongly encourage you to continuously take turns with your planeswalkers. And honestly, I think black's creatures are kind of garbage. So like black and blue. Blue's another one where you got like Welcome to the Fold, if you're familiar with that one. That one says, you gotta do it during your planeswalker's turn. Jace's Scrutiny, which is kind of crappy in my opinion, but it says during your blue planeswalker's turn. The Lantern Geists, which are dummy powerful in my opinion, because you can resummon them every turn, but that's only during your blue planeswalker's turn. So it's like blue and black especially. Who else? I think white doesn't like to take so many turns with planeswalker, minus our new Gideon. Green, I don't know. Green kind of goes in a few directions. I think green's kind of in the middle. And then red, I think, mostly wants their creatures doing damage. But anyway, just on that point, to be like, we can probably change these to not only mean the planeswalker, when your planeswalker does a turn, because that will heavily benefit blue and black, I think, more than most of the rest of the colors currently. Or, again, maybe we add more effects to green, white, and blue, green, white, and, when I say green, white, and red, to say, do this at the start of your planeswalker's turn, and then now they're double incentivized to be like, okay, I have my legendary enchant, and then I have like this sorcery that says I can only do this during my planeswalker's turn,
Yeah, it makes sense. Like, I guess the continuous ability should just be like themed to a planeswalker. So it could just be like when you're close to a planeswalker, something happens, or
Maybe.
So like the white one could be like your creatures get, or is that copying Gideon's current ability? But it would be like creatures get extra toughness when they're close to the planeswalker or something.
Yeah, Gideon's Phalanx. Yeah, that's an enchantment that already does that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's what I would do. I would take that on like a color by color or a card by card basis and be like, it's probably easy to say for black and blue now, or maybe we don't go that way for black and blue, to be like, hey, let's get off of our planeswalkers, the black and blue, and start encouraging turns with creatures with those colors. Anyway, that's something we can revisit. All right, I do got to roll. I'm gonna kill the stream. Thanks for chatting. Oh, I got an hour and 15 minutes in.
Yeah.
Have fun. I don't know if you want to just keep looking at this and update the sheet, and we can look at it another time. All right. Like you can just tell
exactly.
me and Shifty.
Keep chatting by text, and see what it goes. Yeah. See when we're next able to meet up.
Yeah, definitely. Hit us up in chat. My daughter's getting really loud, so I'm out of here, dude. Take it easy.
Well,
have a good night, all right?
Yeah, you too. Or good afternoon and